New Hampshire Giant Pumpkin Growers official Giant Pumpkin Way Off. Let's hear it for everybody who made this happen today. All the Giant Pumpkin Growers, the New Hampshire Giant Pumpkin Growers Association. 14 years ago, we had a vision and we said, let's bring our giant pumpkins to the town of Goffstown, to the downtown, for everybody to enjoy. Create a way off, convert these giant pumpkins into boats, and we'll race them down the river. And the town said, let's do it. And here we are today, 14 years later. I want to thank our good friends from the TD Bank for being our sponsors today for this whole weekend event. It's great to have the businesses downtown on board, everybody being a part of what we've considered a premier way-off site in all of New England. The way-off is going to begin in a few minutes. We've decided we put them in order. The pumpkins will be weighed in what we feel is the smallest to the largest. We have two divisions, the adult division, we have the youth division. And we will start at what we believe is the smallest and work our way up to what we believe is today's grand champion, largest pumpkin here on Main Street. There will be boat building. There's several giant pumpkins already set aside on Mill Street. A few of these will be used also. These giant pumpkins will be converted into boats, and they'll be part of the Giant Pumpkin Regatta that will kick off tomorrow at 3 p.m. A little rundown of some of the stuff going on. There's slingshot competition down on the river. They're slinging little pumpkins into the river at targets. There's, we're going to have the mini pumpkin drop. They're selling mini pumpkins down at the other end at the Main Street booth. $5 for a little pumpkin. Your name and your number goes right on that pumpkin. If it crosses the line, you could, on the river, it crosses first, you can win up to $1,500. And that will be tomorrow that's going to happen. So check that out. Get yourself some tickets for the mini pumpkins. I want to thank our good friends from Demers Garden Center. Let's hear it for Robert Demers and Demers Garden Center. Robert shows up here every day with his loader, every year with his loader and all his forks, the pallet jacks. Becomes part of our community for the weekend, and we couldn't thank him enough. We got volunteers. Anybody you see in an orange shirt with the crew on the back, there are volunteers for the weekend event. Make sure you thank them. You see somebody in orange, tap them on the shoulder, say thanks for making this all happen.
I don't know, you usually use the blanket, right?
We got prize money. There'll be over $1,800 in prize money we'll be giving away today, along with trophies and ribbons for the different categories and the different weights. So some pretty exciting stuff going on there. We'll be presenting the prize money and all the trophies at the end of today's ceremony, today's event.
Whoa, look at those, huh? Holy smokes.
You can't take those, those are ready for trying.
Give you a little bit of tidbit information on these giant pumpkins. Believe it or not, these giant pumpkins are about 90 days old. They're all pollinated around July 1st, so they grow for the month of July, August, and all of September. They've all been they've been harvested from the patches in the last couple of weeks, so they're about anywhere from 90 to 100 days old. And if you did the math, folks, that's some big weight gains in a short period of time. So if you're looking at a 12 or 1,300 pound pumpkin, these pumpkins will grow in excess of 30 to 40 pounds a day, which it's a sight to see when you're at a pumpkin patch, checking it out day to day. You can almost literally see it growing. It's really a fabulous sight. Everybody's, that's what it's all about. That's why the growers are so demanding on their pumpkin patches and making them grow as fast as they can to get them weight gains in that 90-day period. These mammoth-looking giant pumpkins are technically in the squash family, in case you're new to this. As you'll notice, the stems on these are not your typical octagon shape. They're round stems, so they are in the gourd family, which would be considered a squash. Over the years, the color has been implemented in the genetics, and we're creating more and more spectacular-looking giant pumpkins over the years. The orange is definitely becoming more and more more visible in the final product. Our first entry that we're going to bring to the scale is actually our only youth division. It's been definitely been an off season, so we usually have 3 or 4 youth division entries, but we had a lot of rain this summer, a lot of 90-degree temperatures, so production was really down. So to have one in the youth, well, we're happy to have that. It's our good friend Sam Christie Rubin. He's right from Dunbarton. He's been growing these giant pumpkins for 4 years, and he's a consecutive champion 2 years in a row. I believe his last 2 years he was a winner, and or he has placed in the top 3. And we'll see today. I gotta be in the single entry. He'll be today's winner. What you're looking at right now is called, it's an actual lifting ring. This is a device that was manufactured, and all the pumpkin growers pretty much own one. If you're a serious giant pumpkin grower, you've got one of these lifting rings. It works in the same principle as a cargo net, and we're going to sling the straps around it, and we have a gathering strap at the bottom. We'll tighten that right up, and you'll see as he raises the pumpkin, it can't slip out of the harness. And you can see, there we go. Now each pumpkin will be officially thumbs up or thumbs down. That is an official entry. Rules on giant pumpkin contests are there cannot be any holes into the cavity. No cracks, no wears, no tears, no holes into the actual seed cavity. And this one has been inspected and is considered official. What we're going to do is we have to lower it onto the scale, then we're going to remove the lifting ring and the tarp, and we'll get Sam's official weight. Our entry for youth division going to come in today at 492 pounds. Let's hear it for Sam Rubin. There you have it, folks. That's our youth entry. Come on up, Sam, get your picture taken. All right, what we're going to do, Sam, why don't you stay right there? We're going to, we will, because it's our only entry in the youth division, let's present him with the first place trophy and the first place ribbon. Sam Christie Rubin. Being presented this by Robert Demers. He's the president of the New Hampshire Giant Pumpkin Growers Association. And we want to thank you, Sam, for continuing to be our lead youth division entry guy this year to year. And we hope to see you here when you reach the adult division. One more time for Sam. I was up at Sam's Pumpkin Patch this summer checking things out, and boy, he had some big ones going, almost twice this size, but he did lose them towards the end. It cracked. It's one of the things in this hobby, you never know what's going to happen day to day. You can have a pumpkin the size of what's in front of me right here, and on a given night, it'll grow a little too fast and split open, and it's deemed not an official entry because of that crack. So you never know, but to have it hold together to today's event is great for the whole hobby and the pumpkin growers. A world record was weighed last year, and it was one of our good growers right here from New Hampshire, Steve Geddes from Boscowan. He grew an 1,843-pound pumpkin. That was a world record. He weighed it in at the Deerfield Fair. 24 hours later, he was beat by Ron Wallace from Rhode Island. He grew the first one-ton pumpkin, 2,009 pounds. That weight and that record would hold for exactly 1 year. And last weekend it was beat, and the gentleman grew a 2,000, he was from Wisconsin, I believe, a 2,023-pound pumpkin, which is now the current world record. California. Okay, I was just reminded it was California. The same gentleman had a couple of them. He had another one at around 1,800 pounds, but his world record was 2,023 pounds. So you can see as the years go on, the giant pumpkin growers share their knowledge, they share their information, they share everything they've learned about giant pumpkin growing with each other. We don't hold secrets. We kind of, we're looking to see where is the limit? What is the largest pumpkin could ever possibly be grown? There was also a pumpkin grown in Switzerland this year. 2,327 pounds. It did crack towards the end, and so it was deemed unofficial, but it was a 2,300 pound pumpkin. You can Google that on the internet, and you'll see a picture of it about the size of a smart car. So if you've seen one of those lately, picture a pumpkin on wheels, and that's exactly what he had. Okay, I think we'll be bringing our first adult division one up. Barry, are you right there? All right, our next entry came up from Massachusetts. He's from Westford, Mass. Been growing giant pumpkins for 6 years. This guy's a real hoot. Let me tell you, he's at all our events. He supports the New Hampshire Giant Pumpkin Growers Association. His name's Kevin Kearns, and it's always nice to see Kevin here bringing his beautiful fruit to the way off. All right, I got the thumbs up from George Hamilton. This is definitely an official entry. There are no holes, cracks, wears, or tears into the middle of this pumpkin, so it will be an official entry. Kevin Kearns from Massachusetts going to weigh in today. All right, we're going to watch the numbers bounce a little bit. 419 pounds. Let's hear it for Kevin Kearns. Come on up, Kevin. Looks like we're at 418. 418 is the official weight. All right, we got a couple pictures. You gotta love what you're doing, folks. That's what it's all about. Big or small, we weigh them all. That's what it's all about. You know, you see 400 pounds. You watch him next year. He's going to show up here with an 800, maybe 900 pound pumpkin. 1,000 pounds if it goes his way. 1,000 pounds tends to be the.
400 on the same plant.
That's the ultimate. You know, it's a feather in your cap. You hit 1,000 pounds. It's one of those things that's not that easy to do. One of the most commonly asked questions we receive as a giant pumpkin grower. People want to know, what do you feed it? What are you giving to this thing? Well, I'll tell you right off the top, we don't feed them milk. That's a wise tale and a myth. There's no milk injections. It's all hearty, nutritional, organic fertilizing, folks. You're looking at your seaweed, your fish and emulsions, your good old cow manure. This is what it's all about. Cow manure, horse manure, rabbit, even chicken manure. I mean, it's all organic. This is what the growers are using. We do have supplements we add to the soil to enhance root growth, mycorrhizers. We build up the microbes in the soil. Earthworms are essential. There's a lot of basic gardening rules that that are all connected with growing giant pumpkins. And if you're ready to grow your first giant pumpkin, come on up here to the New Hampshire Main Street table, and they've got free seeds. Get yourself a package of seeds, and next year you'll be right here with your first 500-pound pumpkin. So free seeds up at the New Hampshire Giant Pumpkin Growers table. Pick yourself up a t-shirt to wear in the garden next summer when you're growing your first 1,000-pound pumpkin.
Yeah. Well, then what
You may wonder, the size, the pumpkin this size, got to be thousands and thousands of seeds in a pumpkin this big. But really, there are times when we'll open up a giant pumpkin like this and there'll be a dozen seeds in it. You never know what you're going to get. Occasionally, you hit the lottery, you get 1,000 seeds. It doesn't happen often. 400 is about average. 400 to 500 would be a typical giant pumpkin count on seeds. We've had world records grown that didn't have any seeds in them, and it happened. We don't know why, but it's something in the genetics of the giant pumpkin seeds that are being used. What number we got on that one? What number?
Oh, yours dad? Oh, figure that. So it went down to a split or a rod or? Rod and split. Just kidding.
All right, folks, we got a good entry coming up here. Ah, we got a little company coming up to the scale. Look at that.
So what's your
All right, a little spooky world. There we go. Our next entry, he's a local guy, fell in love with the hobby 2 or 3 years ago, said I got to give it a try. His name's Mark Magarian. He owns and operates the Twisted Fender. You need any advice, you need any seeds, go see Mark at the Twisted Fender. Mark had a beautiful entry that he brought to the Deerfield Fair earlier this year. Missed 1,000 pounds by half a pound, folks. He weighed in at 999.5. This is his second pumpkin he grew this year. He's hoping he can get himself up into that 6, 7, maybe 800-pound range. Mark Magarian from Goffstown, New Hampshire. We're going to see what he's got right now. Get the numbers bouncing up there. He's going to be in the 6s, folks. I think we got a new leader in the adult division here. All right, we're going to undo the straps, move it away, and we're going to look at right now for Mark 652.5 pounds. Let's hear it from Mark Magarian. He's from Goffstown, New Hampshire. Checked out his patch a couple times this summer. He had some real good-looking plants. He kept his leaves healthy looking. He kept the plant looking dynamic. And 2 plants, 2 pumpkins, folks. There it is. He's got a 652 and a 999. Let's hear it for Mark Magarian one more time. Always great to see a new grower stepping up to the scales and bringing a beautiful pumpkin like that. Nice entry. And Mark's assured us that one of his 2 entries today will be used for a boat in tomorrow's Giant Pumpkin Regatta. Speaking of regattas, are we ready for a Giant Pumpkin Regatta tomorrow? So you can see them boats going down the river, folks. Going to be a lot of fun. If you have never seen this before, we'll be converting these giant pumpkins into boats later on this afternoon. These are actual man-sized, man-operated boats. So get right inside that boat with a trolling motor, and we'll be racing down the Piscataqua River at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Word has it, if you have never seen this before, we have a new pumpkin pirate boat in store for you. Supposed to be one of the best from what I've been told. And if you know what it's all about, you don't want to miss this one. And it's going to come hooting down that river and chasing the pumpkin boats around. We'll have the giant pumpkin drop from 70 feet in the air at 12 o'clock tomorrow. You want to come down and see our good friends from On Point Concrete Foundation Company. They'll be setting up their the crane and setting up all the ropes and gear needed to drop it into a swimming pool. It'll be a drop from 70 feet up into a 14-foot wide soft pool. So we try to create the biggest splash. That event is sponsored by your good friends from Green Thumb Landscaping. Let's hear it for Green Thumb Landscaping. All right. All right. Good to see all my friends here today. All right, our next entry came up from Merrimack. This guy, let me tell you a little bit about him. He's been growing for 6 years. His name's Jason Dubois. This guy's got it figured out, folks. He's been here last 3 years in a row, and he brings nothing but 800, 900, and 1,000-pound pumpkins. He's got it figured out. He grows 2 or 3 plants, and they're all worthy of competition each year. I expect to see him in the winner's circle at one of these way-off competitions soon. Been down to his pumpkin patch 2 or 3 times over the past few years, and he certainly keeps his patch well weeded, groomed, and watered, and he's got it figured out. You know, it's that one little thing that gives you the edge on the next guy, and you got to figure it out what it is. It might be your location, the sun, too much water, not enough water, but it all comes down to that. This is Jason Dubois, and he's from Merrimack, New Hampshire. He would love to see a 1,000-pounder here today. Whoa, them numbers are getting up there. Can he hold on? Up in the 8s, up in the 8s. We'll pull the harness away. Jason Dubois from Merrimack, New Hampshire, going to weigh in today at 877.5, a new leader. Come on up, Jason. Come on up. Get your picture taken. All right, and word has it, Jason will be giving this little beauty up for a boat for tomorrow's regatta. One more round of applause for Jason Dubois from Merrimack, New Hampshire. And folks, this is what it's about. You worked in the patch all year. He brought a 650-pounder to the Milford Pumpkin Festival, and here he is today with his 877. Always great to see new growers climbing up the charts with the weights and being part of our festival of way off on this given day. There you go. Hi, Lacey. All right, our next entry is our good friend Mark Magarian, and he is, this was an entry that he had at Deerfield Fair, but he brought us to give it for a boat, and to see what exactly, oh my gosh, folks, we may have our first 1,000-pounder already. Look at this, 1,062.5 pounds, Mark Magarian from Goffstown, New Hampshire. There it is, folks. Mark's been growing these giant pumpkins for 3 years, like I mentioned earlier. There you have it. Look at that, folks. Right now, he's got himself a leader in the adult division, and the previously weighed one, so it's a 1,062.5. Let's give it up for Mark Magarian. He looks pretty happy at that right now. I know it's been his mission to grow his first 1,000-pounder, and that he did. and it's my understanding that will be used as a boat. That will be one of the boats. We're going to.
But isn't that cheating with the big scope? Huh? I'm trying to get he knew it was under the top. No, it was at the 999.5. Exactly. So right. Alvarado drew a watch head on it. You gave him his 1,000 bucks? Yeah. You gave him his 1,000 number here. It looked good on the
All right, folks, if you're looking around now, you're seeing some big pumpkins coming to that scale. 1,000 pounds. Will we see 1,100 pounds next? Hold on to your shorts. They're going to keep getting bigger. If everything goes the way we're hoping, we could be up in the 13, maybe 1,400 pound range by the end of this competition. All these giant pumpkins will remain on display for the remainder of the weekend, so you can come on down with the grandkids, the kids, get some pictures, and share the glory of these growers. All right, our next entry came down over the hill from Henniker, New Hampshire. This guy's been growing giant pumpkins, folks, for 16 years. He's never let us down. He seems to bring something big to the scales every year. He was a New England champion in 2003, 2004. He had a 1,301 pound pumpkin. He brought it to the Topsfield Fair. He's been in the top 3 more times than once. His name's Bruce Whittier. You head up into the Henniker area, you'll hear that name, and anybody knows Henniker, they'll know Bruce from all his giant pumpkin accomplishments. He was ahead of his time back in the early 2000s. He grew a 1,448 pound pumpkin, the first ever of that size. It did crack and it was not eligible for competition, but that's when the pumpkin world community started to realize that it was possible to grow a 1,400 or 1,500 pound pumpkin. It was not unheard of. All right, Bruce Whittier from Henniker, New Hampshire, going to head to the scales now. You can notice, folks, you'll notice it's a nice shape, got a nice color, what we call a symmetrical shape. And that's what you want as a giant pumpkin grower. Let's see here, can he keep it up in that 1,000 pound range? Looking good. All right, Bruce Whittier from Henniker, New Hampshire. Gonna weigh in today at 1,066.5 pounds. Let's hear it for Bruce Whittier. There you have it, folks, 2,000 pounders. That's what we're looking for. We are now on track to get 11 to 1,200 pounder up here.
Come on, Bruce, get up there, get your mug shot.
Come on up, Bruce.
Act like it's fun.
There you go. Got some nice weather, so that's a good thing.
All right, one more round of applause for Bruce Whittier, our leader right now, 1,067 pounds.
No, mine's an antique too.
All right. If you have never seen a giant pumpkin regatta and tomorrow is your first event, you don't want to miss it, folks. We're going to actually carve these pumpkins into boats with large men and women. We'll be getting right inside them with trolling motors, and we'll be racing down the river. I think we have 8 entries lined up for tomorrow. And they'll be starting at the dam and working their way right up to the bridge. We always have a planned visit from the Pumpkin Pirate, and they'll do a little water competition out there. All right, our next entry made an early trip down from Vermont. Our good friend Wilbur Horton. He's been growing giant pumpkins for over 10 years, folks. And he lives in Springfield, Vermont. Now, let me just tell you about this guy. I think he deserves a round of applause for bringing this pumpkin from Vermont. Let's hear it for Wilbur Horton. You know, he knew we needed, we were in desperate need of a couple more pumpkins for boats. We were short this year because of the terrible growing season we had. And Wilbur said, I'll bring one down and you can use it for a boat. So not only is he going to compete today in the out-of-state division, but he will leave this with us for a boat tomorrow with a perfect size, everything we're looking for.
Really?
I'll show you all the books.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Wilbur Horton from Springfield, Vermont. Wilbur's had 1,200, 1,300 pounders over the years. He knows how to grow them, folks. What's he going to bring to us right now? A new leader, I believe. We're going to have a new leader. Look at this. We're in the 1,100 pounds, 1,140.5 pounds. There it is. A new leader from Springfield, Vermont. Always great to have our out-of-staters coming in the competition. You know, we had to get up early and leave early to be here today. We appreciate it all. Thank you so much, Wilbur. All right, so that brings us up into the 1,100 pound range. We're going to move right on to 1,200 pounds. I think we're ready. Are we ready for 1,200 pounds, folks? 1,200 pounds coming up next.
I can see now they won't roll off.
What number we got?
Like he's going to be fast in the water there. I'll tell it. We waited.
It's actually the more difficult part is getting on the horse.
That's it.
Now, where does he take this one for?
They don't know. Yeah, they gotta come down to Massachusetts to get here.
All right, we have free seeds, giant pumpkin seeds. If you've ever dreamed and wanted to grow one of these, you got to get a seed from a grower. You got to get a seed that came out of one of these babies. It's a seed you can't just buy at your regular garden center, and they're readily available. You need to come right here and get them. If we have them right up here at the table for the New Hampshire Giant Pumpkin Growers. Get yourself a free package of seeds. You heard me right, folks. Free. There's nothing like free these days. Right now, a package of 2 seeds, free, just for coming up and asking Terry and the girls up at the table. Next year, you'll be right here in this competition.
Kind of looks like my 90s. Mine was like long. Wait, your dad's now? Yeah. The camera's ready.
I'd love to have a pumpkin on it. Yeah.
All right, our next entry came on over the hills from Hillsboro. This guy's been growing giant pumpkins for 12 years. He is a mentor extraordinaire. He doesn't keep this hobby just to himself. He's always teaching those around him how it's done. And let me tell you, he's taught a few good growers out there, and they've been here with some top entries over the years. His name's Jim Ford, and he's part of his mansion in Hillsboro, New Hampshire, and he's had many of the youth from there with competition pumpkins over the years, and they've got a beauty here. I'm hoping we're going to see ourselves a 1,300-pound pumpkin. I believe we're definitely flirting with the 1,200 range. If it all goes right, we could see 1,300 pounds here. Jim Ford and Kim Butler from Hillsboro, New Hampshire. They are a growing tandem. All right, I got the thumbs up. It is a sound entry. We have no cracks, no wears, tears, or leaks into the middle. That means it's a definite qualifying entry. This will indeed be used for a pumpkin boat, I've been told. So there you have it, folks. Another one of the pumpkin regatta boats right there. Be converted after this way off into a boat. Could we see 1,300 pounds? Let's cross our fingers. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Are we ready for 1,300 pounds? I need to hear some excitement. It's time to step it up. If we're ever going to reach 14, we got to get to 13. Look at this, folks. Did I tell you? Look at that. Will it hold on for 1,300 pounds?
Hold on. This you can grab that one.
And it's bouncing around. Will it stay there? Hold on, folks. Whoa, we're on by 1,301 pounds. Let's hear it for Jim Ford and Kim Butler. This is a team of growers from Hillsboro, sharing the love and the passion for this hobby with each other. Yeah, you can well imagine, you know, your tape measure, we do estimating charts on these. Sometimes they'll estimate 1,200 and weigh 1,300. It's all bonus pounds in the end. There you go, that's a nice entry. For Jim Ford and Kim Butler, one more time, let's give it up. Seeds, seeds, and more seeds, and they're free. Giant pumpkin seeds right up here. You've ever wanted to grow one of these, you got to start right here by getting the seed, and they're free. Giant pumpkin seeds, come up to the New Hampshire Giant Pumpkin Growers table and get yourself some free seeds.
Grow anything this year?
Be very careful not to hit this sensitive. It's only on the. Okay. Stay here though. Thanks.
Getting tired.
All right, this is really something special we have here, folks. Where else can you go to your downtown common and see some of the biggest pumpkins in the world just sitting out on the common for your enjoyment? They'll be here all weekend. You'll be able to take pictures, bring the grandkids down, do whatever you want, get some nice shots. This is all part of the weekend festivities. Some of these will be converted into boats, so they won't be here, but most of them will stay, so you can enjoy them.
Okay, that's fine. Oh, they call them up here, not the children. Are these the last three?
What would a giant pumpkin way off be without the scale guy? Let's hear it for Wally, the scale guy from Northeast Scales. Right there, folks. Not every way off site has a telescopic displaying way off scale like this.
Really?
Wally made that especially for us for this competition. And his partner Matt over there. All right.
Let's see if I like that. One of the no. So literally with the doctor and they yeah. It was like.
Okay, folks, we got a beauty coming to the scale now. This giant pumpkin was recently picked, has never been weighed, right out of the patch. This grower's been dedicated to the hobby for 11 years. He's certainly an inspiration to those around him because he does nothing but grow bigger and bigger and bigger every year. He's won this competition a couple of years in a row. He's brought this one in right now. This is Bruce Hooker. He's from Belmont, New Hampshire. Driving through town, folks, 11 years ago, and he saw a giant pumpkin sitting on the common and said, I got to find out what this is all about. Stopped right here, got free seeds from the table where you can get free seeds. Got his free seeds, and look where he is today. He could be a top 3 contender, if not today's champion of the Giant Pumpkin Weigh-Off Contest. Bruce Hooker from Belmont, New Hampshire. We thank you so much, Bruce, for bringing your giant pumpkin here today. And I believe he is offering us a boat with one of these giant pumpkins today. So we thank him for that. Without the commitment and dedication of these growers from the New Hampshire Giant Pumpkin Growers Association, there would be no regatta. Okay, I got the thumbs up from George Hamilton from the UNH Cooperative Extension. George has indicated this is indeed a sound entry. There are no cracks, wears, tears, or cracks into the middle. It would be considered ineligible if there was a hole into the middle and somebody tried to fill it with water. It's been done, it's happened, but it won't happen today. All right, Bruce is going to carefully lower his own entry right to the scale. And let's see if we got a new leader, folks. Are we ready for 1,200 pounds? 1,200 maybe. Let's see what we got. Look at this. The numbers are up there. Ooh, could he beat 1301? There's a chance. We're going to undo the harness. Pull the straps. Lift the ring. Watch it for the stem.
Watch the stem.
Okay, folks. Do we have something that can be a new leader right now? Needs to be 1301. There we have it. 1,305.5 pounds. There it is, folks. 1304.5. We have a new leader right there. Bruce Hooker from Belmont, New Hampshire. Bruce just continues to whoa the crowd and the fellow growers. He knows how to grow them big, been doing it for years. He is certainly an inspiration to all those around him in the growing giant pumpkin community.
We're thrilled to have you all here today. Welcome on behalf of the Goffstown Main Street program. Let's give it up for Jim Boschman, our pumpkin MC, and the father of the giant pumpkin way-off and regatta. I don't know if you saw the Union Leaders article this week. Yes, it's true. Jim sat in our office in the winter of 2000 on a cold January day, and he said, I got an idea. What if we brought in giant pumpkins and had a way-off, and then we had a regatta? Doesn't that sound like fun? Well, it's a winner. We're so glad you're all here today. A couple of quick announcements. We're going to be crowning the Prince and Princess any moment now. But after the way-off, those of you who haven't yet been on a hayride, the folks from Toad Hill Farm would love to see you. It's all free. You just hot-foot it on down Church Street, take a left at the Spotted Sheep Yarn Shop, and visit the booth there, and the hayrides will be there for you. We hope you're... Who's having a good time? Yeah. It is. I can't remember better weather. Can you, Jim? Best weather we've ever had. All of the folks who are wearing these orange crew shirts are Main Street and pumpkin grower volunteers, and so when you see them today, you think about the hundreds and hundreds of hours they've put in, because trust me, it's been a lot. And they do such wonderful work. We're so grateful to the growers who are giving up their babies to us for cutting them up this afternoon and turning them into boats. We're going to have 7 boats in the regatta tomorrow. You won't want to miss it. And of course, as always, we have, well, you never know what we're going to have. There's always a surprise. Have you had your fried dough yet? Good. I'm getting ready to have some myself. The chicken barbecue's open. It's a great day. You got another pumpkin coming, Jim? Okay, or shall we wait and do the Prince and Princess? Okay, do we have our princess? Is she here? Not yet. Hey, princess.
He's calling John.
Sorry to say it is not Jackie.
Yes, I am. It's like little.
Okay, then we will have our crowning then. Jim?
He's the one telling us.
We have, come on down, Jim, we'll let you do the crowning. We have Prince Kevin. There we go. Prince Kevin, I crown you King, well, Prince, of the Pumpkin Way-Off and Regatta. Wave to your fans. Yeah, Prince Kevin. And Princess Abigail, who's been waiting patiently.
Everybody says
Turn around, sweetie. Oh, look at, she's even got little orange bows in her hair. Prince Kevin and Princess Abigail. Wait, and turn this way. Over here, look at the pumpkins. And you can catch some more pictures of the Prince and Princess tomorrow as they wend their way down Mill Street prior to the regatta. Thank you all. Thanks very much. I'm going to turn it back over to Jim, and you have a great day here on Main Street.
Thank you, Robbie. I know I can remember our very first Prince and Princess that we found. Our princess came back last year, and she's now 20 years old. and off to college. So it's really it's an inspiration to all those who work on this event to see the young kids come and be part of this whole day. They've been working on winning that contest. They will ride down Main Street in the Pumpkin Mobile tomorrow to kick off the Giant Pumpkin Regatta. All right, we're down to our final 2 entries. And I'm going to tell you a real fascinating story about these final 2 entries and the guy who grew him. This guy has been growing giant pumpkins for 6 years, folks. 6 years. One of the giant pumpkin growers here brought him a plant 6 years ago and says, well, to give this a try. And he kind of threw it in the ground, and he came up with a 500-pound pumpkin, something that kind of amazed those around him for his first year growing. Now he's bringing pumpkins to way off sites year after year. He's a former world champion. He held the world record of 1,843 pounds for 24 hours last year. His name's Steve Geddes from Boscowan, New Hampshire. Let's hear it for Steve. A world champion. So he had that 1,843-pound pumpkin. The next day, 24 hours later, a gentleman from Rhode Island, Ron Wallace, brought a giant entry to the Topsfield Fair, and it weighed 2,009 pounds. It was indeed a new world record, and it held that title till last weekend when it was beat by a gentleman from Napa Valley, California, and he grew a 2,023-pound pumpkin, which is indeed the current world record. Steve Gettys from Boscowan, New Hampshire. Who wants to see 1,300 pounds? How about 14, folks? Anybody want to see 1,400 pounds? We're right up there. We're close. We could see possibly high 13s. It may even hit 14, folks. There you have it. The straps have been undone. And let's see what Steve is going to weigh in today. Look at this. We're flirting with 14, folks. 1,386.5 pounds. Well, let's give it up for Steve Gettys from Boscowan, New Hampshire. And another special mention, Steve has offered to give both his entries up to be used as giant pumpkin regatta boats. One more time for Steve. You're going to love it. Steve studies the soil. He studies the conditions. He knows more about what's going on in the soil than he does in the pumpkin. That's what it's all about. Building up your microbial activity in the soil, enhancing root growth. We have different additives now we put in the soil. You used to pull up a root on a giant pumpkin plant and it was a dangling single root. Wow, you pull a root up now, it's like a mop of roots. The more roots you have, the more feeding channels you have to that pumpkin. And these giant pumpkin growers have got it all figured out. The more you feed it, the bigger it's going to get. Now, giant pumpkins like this, the plants will drink up to 100 gallons of water daily during peak growth spurts. They'll grow 35 to 40 pounds a day. So it's certainly something to see, watch, and be part of in the giant pumpkin patch. And that's kind of what gets us all inspired to do this. Where else can you have so much fun watching something grow? And put on weight like that. We'll be awarding over $1,700 in cash prizes after the event is over. We have trophies, ribbons, and everything to go with it. So if you want to stick around and see your favorite grower or your favorite pumpkin and watching them get their prize money, please do. All right, folks, we're down to our final entry. We'll be bringing that up to the scales and seeing if we can get ourselves into the 1,400-pound range. Last year we had 1,500 pounds, we had 1,800 pounds, we had some big pumpkins here last year. This year has certainly been a challenging growing season, as many of the growers will tell you. Between the rain and the heat and humidity, it was certainly a challenge.
Yeah, it must be it. Yeah, you're doing something here. What's going on with this panel?
All right, as you can well imagine, this is a pretty big pumpkin coming up, and
just little gaps like this.
they're having a little difficulty maneuvering it. Let's see if they can reposition the pallet jack and get a...
You want to just drink it from there? Right there. Okay.
The wall thickness on these giant pumpkins can exceed 12 to 14 inches in the thickness of the wall. So you can imagine you've carved yourself a jack-o'-lantern, a conventional pumpkin, and you'll see a 2-inch, inch and a half, 2-inch wall thickness on a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. These Atlantic giants will have walls sometimes up to 12 inches thick. That's what gives them the weight, and it gives them the ability to hold up and not collapse.
I can also email Stan. Want me to do that instead? I got a few other things
All right, up she goes. All right, got the thumbs up from George Hamilton, our official judge for today's competition. And we will bring our final entry to the scale, and we'll see if this will be today's largest entry. All right, folks, are we ready for 1,400 pounds? We're going to find out here shortly. 1,400. Will it be?
That's where, like,
6-year grower from Boscowan, New Hampshire, Steve Geddes, former world champion. Let's see, folks. We're up there. We're flirting with 14. Could this be our very first and only 1,400-pound pumpkin today? The numbers are bouncing up in the 14s, the high 13s. The straps are being removed, and we'll remove the ring. Steve Gettys, I think we're in the 14s. 1,425.5 pounds. There it is. Today's winner, folks. Steve Gettys from Boscowan, New Hampshire. A beautiful 1,425.5 pounds. You can see the cantaloping is what we call it. You can see the skin is cantaloping. That usually heavy cantaloping equals heavier weights. And he certainly had everything it was going to take to bring home today's title. It was a nice entry by Steve Geddes from Boscowan, New Hampshire. That's it. Give it up one more time. A former world champion. All right, folks. Now that concludes our way off. The boat building will begin shortly down on Mill Street. If you've never seen this before, we'll be converting these giant pumpkins into actual sailing vessels. We'll be installing motors on them, and they'll be equipped with the batteries, anything they need to make.
And fighting Bill Tracy from Dover, and dear Mick McCann from the banks of the Van was the skipper of the Irish Rover. We had sailed 7 years when the measles broke out, and our ship lost her way in the fog, and the whole of the crew was reduced down to two, just myself and Captain's old dog. Then a ship hit a rock, and what a shock, nearly tumbled over. She turned 9 times around, and the poor old log was drowned. Now I'm the last